Hey guys, it's day 15 of our caterpillars slash chrysalis slash butterflies. Some of you already have butterflies. That is so exciting. Well, mine are going to hatch in the next day or two, so I'm going to transfer my one little chrysalis that fell off onto the thing. Now, as I mentioned before, you do not have to do this. A couple of people had expressed interest in it, so I thought I'd show you how I do it. Now, this is my little butterfly stand, and here is my little chrysalis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a button of hot glue on the lid, and then I'm going to attach the chrysalis. Just to warn you, what generally happens is the chrysalis is going to wiggle around. They are still moving inside of that chrysalis. It seems like they're completely dormant, but they will move around because, say, a predator such as a wasp or an ant or something got on them, they would want to shake it off and get rid of it. So they will still move around. So I have my hot glue gun heating. I'm going to put my little button on. All right, so there's my button of hot glue. As I said, I did work at the butterfly exhibit at the museum, so that's how I learned how to do this from them. And every year, I usually have to do this at school. Now it's starting to wiggle it a little. Can you see that? Yeah, it's wiggling. So I just want to make sure that I get the cream master, which is the little stick part, nice and securely in that hot glue, because I don't want it to wiggle and fall off. As you can kind of see, it's wiggling around. Now I've attached it to the cream master, which is just kind of like a stem, so it's not going to hurt the chrysalis. It's just reattaching it. All right, so it's still moving around. My hot glue is still drying, so I'm going to leave it to dry for a second, and I'm going to read you a butterfly book. All right, you ready? Here we go. Butterfly House. When I was just a little girl, I saw a small black creature like a tiny worm and saved it from a greedy jay who wanted it for lunch. I carried it inside, safe on its wide green leaf. My grandpa said it was a larva and it would soon be a butterfly. So see, there's the little girl with the caterpillar. We laid the larva carefully on thistle leaves inside an empty jar, put in a twig for it to climb, and made a lid of soft white paper, all around stuck with glue. My grandpa knew exactly what to do. I raised a butterfly myself when I was just your age. How strange to think of my grandpa once young like me. We would have been best friends if I'd been there back then, I said. My grandpa smiled. It worked out anyhow. We're best friends now. Up in his room, we found a box. I cut a window in its side, then covered it with screen. Soon I could look inside and see my larva looking back at me. What would she see? A human face so big and scary, strange and starey? What would she think? I want it pretty until she goes, I said. So Grandpa and I drew flowers on colored paper, cone flowers, purple blue, and marigolds, lantana, bright as flame, and thistles too. We wedged a garden twig inside the box for her to walk on, so her wings could dry once she became a butterfly. My grandpa knows the flowers that butterflies like best, the ones where they can rest and drink sweet, clear nectar. We glued painted flowers inside the box so it was bright with color. Made a sky above, the lid all blue with white cotton clouds and green with tops of trees that seemed to sway in the soundless air. What a beautiful home she made for her butterfly. I made a curve of rainbow like a hug to keep her safe while she was there. We set the jar inside and closed the painted lid. Through the screened window, I could see the garden house, a place of flowers and space and waiting stillness. Each day I put out leaves for food and watched my larva change. My grandpa knew when it was time to gently pull away the paper top she hung from. I taped it to the wall inside her house and let her be. She would hang inside the chrysalis that kept her hidden from the world. Look, it's a painted lady chrysalis just like ours. Inside the magic place she grew, transformed herself, came out droopy, limp, and slack with crumpled wings. She was a butterfly, all spotted, orange, black, and brown, as if someone had shaken paints and let the drops fall down. Does that look familiar? Our painted lady, Grandpa said. It's time. He meant it was time for her to leave for her new life. I swallowed tears. From the beginning I'd known today would come, and now it was here. My grandpa took my hand. Cry if you like. I understand. We carried the box and raised the lid. I watched her falter as she felt the first warm touch of sun, saw trees, felt breezes brush across her wings. She rose, then rested on the fig tree branch. I saw her fly. Goodbye. So many years have passed. I am as old as Grandpa was that spring when I was young. I live in the house that was once his. The garden glows with coneflowers, purple blue, marigolds, lantana bright as flame, and thistles too. And now every spring the painted ladies come. They float and drift like blossoms. When I walk by, they flutter to kiss me with a painted wing. Sometimes they cling to me as if I am a flower myself. My neighbors cannot understand. Our flowers are the same as yours, they say each time they visit me. We even planted thistle to invite the butterflies, but they don't come. They fill your air like autumn leaves, although it isn't such fall. It's such a mystery. I smile. It's not a mystery at all. I think my painted ladies talk amongst themselves of how their great-great-grandma, too far back to say, was saved from being eaten by a jay. This young girl made a house for her, they whisper as they fly, a painted garden in a box, so that she'd see beauty as she hung in that half-sleep that we've all known. This is the girl, but older now. We visit her each spring to give her back love that she gave to us so long ago. It's not a mystery to me. I think I know. The end. So, my chrysalis is now reattached and dried. See? So now I have 5 chrysalis hanging on the buttons. I'm going to put it inside, and then the next day or two, I expect that they're going to emerge from their chrysalis. Bye.